folks, ET here coming at you with a week ahead look for SPY. So let's get to it. A full week. Hope everybody had a good Turkey Day if they celebrate. We're starting off with our customer sentiment. Seeing right here a little bit of profit taking up here, where we hit another all-time high as we went up. So going to keep an eye on this, a very, very, very close eye to see if we go further down and we start to get a little bit of a pullback. Obviously, dark pools and gamma are going to be our guide. So we're going to jump into those very shortly. We're going to go ahead and take a look at our dark pool really quickly, and we did have a bunch of SIG prints at 598.8 on Friday, so keep an eye there. Mark that on your charts. Remember, don't worry about bull bear. It just marks that depending on where price is. So if price is above that, it considers it a support, makes it bullish. If price is below a SIG print, it considers it a resistance and makes it bearish. Don't sweat that portion right there. Just worry about the price and mark it on your charts. Dark pool levels. Our ag is still sitting at around 595. We've got another sizable level at 600 as well, 599.38. I prefer the Discord bots. I'm actually going to pull one up here in a few minutes and show you something that I found a little bit interesting, at least dark pool level wise, as we go along. So mark these on your charts. They change every day. I covered these in the video, but I do prefer the bot ping, which is TR-DP levels space SPY to pull those in the Discord bot. Just cover these because they're on the web where we are. Whale watch, a little bit interesting here on SPY. We'll go ahead and jump into our whale positioning. We've seen 610 sell off a little bit, quite a bit here. Actually, not a little bit, a lot bit. I did remove a bunch that were flat, that didn't have a whole lot going on. 605 is interesting because that matches a dark pool that grew a lot on Friday that we'll cover here in just a second. 610 selling off is interesting to me, meaning we could just see, I'm not saying a top and that we're going to crash. We could see a bit of a retrace to some downside levels, which we will check in our gamma. I'm going to go ahead and pull up this dark pool level really quick here, though. Right here, as you see, the 604.23 is at 3.5 billion. But here's the interesting thing. It's at 3.5. I want you to see where it was on Friday. It was at 106 million. So we grew $3.1 billion roughly on Friday at this dark pool. So right around here matches that 605 that we see pulling up at 604.23. Keep an eye there very, very, very closely for any sort of pullback into these lower levels right here. All right. I'm not saying we crashed, just saying there's some potential there with that dark pool growing a bunch that we could get, that we could reject from a little bit and come on back down. Now, let's go ahead and grab our gamma, our price distro, everything else, and go along. So remember, one day here on our price distribution is the next day. So this means Monday. So Monday is showing a little bit bullish. If you've watched these videos, you know price distro and dealer OI do not matter as much as gamma, but we cover them anyways just so you know and understand how to use the tools. So Tuesday showing sort of a mixed day, sort of a round trip day. Wednesday showing a little bit more bullish than bearish. Thursday showing way more bullish than bearish. And then Friday showing way more bullish than bearish as well. Remember, these do change throughout the week. And I'll point this out. Our dealer OI, green bars to the right is bearish. Red bars to the left is bullish. So right now we're actually seeing some bearish positioning here while distro says bullish. So we're going to put an X on these two and see what gamma says instead. Always, we cover them just so you know how to do it. So gamma, aggregate's pretty simple. 593, which matches pretty closely to that pullback, to that dark pool if we get at that largest ag at the moment. All right, so 593 is a repel. Green repels, red attracts. Biggest pull right now, 600. So too far over, even if we get into this 610 or that 605 area that we saw that had the whale watch going up, we might see a bit of a retrace back to that 600. We get too high away from it. Let's go ahead and start going through our different DTEs and see what we see in there as well. 12-2 Monday, very simple. Needs to hold 600 and we get upside. We lose 600 and we come on down to 597 or 594. Another scenario for this could be is that we have a very bullish net flow, but we have these pulls down here and we don't have convergence on our net flow, and we keep coming back to 600 over and over again because of these larger pulls. So we'll see how that pans out. Monday, 600 is going to be our important level. Mark that down in your brains as something to keep an eye on. 12-3 Tuesday, let's go ahead and jump in. So far more interesting here. We have that 605 repel. So we have that huge That huge position we saw in Whale Watch going up to 605. So Tuesday up to 605, and that matches that dark pool that grew a bunch quite a bit as well. So 605, if we can't break above, we come on back down to 602. A bit of a gamma cluster here that could hold price up, but interestingly enough, 596, which is still in that area of that dark pool we talked about as there as well. So, and there's the 595 repel. So if we get a turnaround Tuesday and we had a good day on Monday, we get up here to this 605, and then we start to pull back the rest of the day into this area. A lot of positive gamma though, holding it there if it can't repel down and instead repels up. Wednesday, we'll go ahead and jump into Wednesday 12/4 and see how that pans out. This is very interesting. 604, so matches that 605 area we've talked about and that dark pool. Remember, to put all these things together is very important. Bit of a repel there and then pulls all the way down. This would be a massive, massive drop on Wednesday with a repel at 588. So pay attention to our Wednesday morning prep very closely to see what has changed here for us. All right. Very important. Another scenario is we just don't have a very good Tuesday. We come on down and then we hold this 588 and start working our way back up. So we'll have to see how that pans out and if this gamma changes throughout the week. Very important to keep an eye on those morning preps as they cover any changes that we've seen in the data. So we've covered Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Let's jump into Thursday, then Friday, then check our Gex and Vex profile and get you out of here. So still some downside showing here. That same little area around 589, 590 as a big repel. 588 was one as well. Pulls all along the way, and then 600 being a repel as well. So it's pretty simple. Even though we have pulls down here, these negative levels that attract price, if nothing changes and we stay above 600, we can still continue to go. Holding these greens is important. Losing it, well, then we're coming on down to that 594 area, which guess what? Matches up with those dark pools that we discussed earlier as well. So not saying 605 is the top for week, is the top for the week. Still some potential for more, but would make sense if we hit 605 and then saw a small retrace for the next leg up. We're not bull or bear. We just look at data. That's all that we want to keep an eye on. We don't want to post a bunch of crazy stuff talking about crashes and rips and everything else. We just want to follow our data. So hopping back in, 590 appears to be another very important level. 605 has that huge repel that we've seen across the board a little bit, which once again matches that dark pool level that's starting to grow, so keep an eye. There is a big pull at 610, so if we can stay over 605, we have room to absolutely go hard. If not, if we cannot get above 605, Friday shows that we have some room to 601. If we're below that range right there, plain and simple, we have a range down to 593 and 590, with 595 being the biggest pull there. So very interesting, that 595 level, if we start to get any sort of pullback. It's not that far from price, to be honest. We've seen SPY move a lot more intraday than what we're calling out for the week. So right now we're looking at a potential, let's say 610 to 585 range. Pretty big, and we'll decide if that grows to the right for more upside as gamma adjusts throughout the week, or grows to the left for more downside as gamma changes throughout the week. Pretty simple there. Just an easy prep as we go along. Now let's jump into our Gex and Vex profile. Remember, further below the zero the blue line is, the more price is supported. And if you've watched these, you know I like to draw a line where it all kind of matches up. So we have a 591.5 and 616 right around there. So if we went a little lower, we'd have 614 and 593.5. Very, very, very big range. This changes throughout the day. And one thing I always recommend is check this late day to see if it's walked one direction or another. And what I mean by that is if this has all been pretty standard and pretty low down here, and it's got a very wide range attached to it, and then all of a sudden you see this portion here that with higher levels go far up, and you see this part here getting walked down to stay far below zero, then you know that that's a nice target for the downside move and opposite for the upside move. If all of these start to get way, way, way up here and you see this holding down here, then you know price is supported there and it might be a buy the dip scenario. Pair that with what your gamma looks like every day, what your SIG prints and what your dark pools are saying, and also your customer sentiment, and it will help you be a little bit more successful in planning out sort of those day trades or those swing trades of where price might be going and where it might hold and reject from, depending on all of that. All right, everybody have a good day, a good week. Stay safe out there and go get that Oprah money.